Hey, I hope you're having a great day. Today for the FCA devotional, I wanted to talk a little bit about versatility. I think it's very, very important to be versatile. I do softball camps around the country, and one of the things that myself and other coaches at universities, as well as some of the teammates I played in the Olympics with, when we set up these camps, what we like to do is have athletes go through different stations. So you might get an athlete and all they've played is shortstop, but here at the camp they're going to learn how to play outfield, infield, different positions. They're going to learn to hit, bunt. Maybe they haven't even been called on to bunt, but it's so important in our sport to be able to be versatile, be able to do many different aspects of the game. As an athlete myself, I'm a left-hander and grew up as a pitcher, and because I was a lefty, my coaches would put me at first base as well. And when I went to college, I got recruited as a pitcher and a first baseman. But my sophomore year in college, I found myself starting full-time in center field. My coach actually made the choice to move me to the outfield because that was what was best for our team. And my freshman year, I was thankful to watch three amazing outfielders excel and do everything the right way. I had a coach who really worked with me in the outfield, so by the time I was a sophomore, I was ready to go and ready to play that position full-time. But I think it's very, very important that we're willing and that we would say, you know what, I want to be used however the team needs me. If my coach needs me at third base, I'm going to go. Even though I might be scared to death, I'm going to do everything in my power to learn. Or maybe they need me to catch this game and I've never caught. I see this at the youngest levels, and it's those athletes that are willing to say, hey, put me in coach, wherever you need me, I'll do it, that you see really start to excel. Not only that, the team becomes better because of it. Everybody benefits when that happens. So versatility is very, very important. One more thing about it on a team is that, especially if you're a coach that has a lot of players that can play multiple positions, your depth of your team grows a lot more. You might only have 12 players, but if you have 3 girls that can pitch and 4 girls that can play shortstop or second base and girls that can go in the outfield and can catch the ball and cut off those gappers, then you're going to be in a much better situation than if you just have only a third baseman, a shortstop, a pitcher, and that example. So it's very important as an athlete to be versatile, to learn as much as you can about this sport. You never know where you're going to be put. As a coach, to look for those players that you can see can make those changes and are willing. And I want to share a little bit in the devotion today about versatility as a Christian. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 9 was talking in verse 19, and he was talking about being all things to all people. He was someone who knew Jesus, who decided to follow him. He used to persecute Christians, but God opened his eyes and changed his life, and now he wanted to go out and just tell everyone he could about this God that he loved and he served, and how he offered free life to everyone who would follow him, and especially because Paul was one of the worst sinners, he called himself, and God showed him his grace in his life. So he wanted to share that. I want to read verse 19, 1 Corinthians 9. It says, "Though I am free and belong to no man, I make myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible." That's the key. That's why he's doing it. He says, "To the Jews I became like a Jew to win the Jews," because he was also of Jewish background. He said, "To those under the law I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. To those not having the law I became like one not having the law, though I'm not free from God's law, but am under Christ's law, so as to win those not having the law. To the weak I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all men, so that by all possible means I might save some." That's a key verse right there. That's verse 22. And then this last verse, verse 23, it says, "I do all of this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings." And as an athlete, when we are willing to be versatile and be used and make a difference, our team benefits. Everyone benefits. Our success, the chance for it goes way, way up. And what Paul is saying is that, you know what? I don't want to just put myself in one little box and say, okay, these are the people I can relate to. This is how God's going to use me. Instead, he's saying, you know what, wherever God takes me, to the Jews, I'm going to talk to them because I know this and I can relate this way. To those that are under the law, well, then you know what, I'm going to act like I'm under the law as well and relate to them where they are at. And God wants us all to be used in that way. He wants us all to be versatile. And I look at this, if you're an athlete on your team, God wants to use you to be an example, not necessarily just on Sunday when you go to church or to those in your little class at church that know you that way, but also maybe on your team to be an example, to say, you know what, I'm playing softball, but I play for God's glory. He's the reason why I play. I believe that he gave me this talent, and also to be there, someone that can pray with your teammates. Maybe it's also just at home to be an example of God's love to your neighbor. Maybe you have a friend at school that's in need, or maybe even if you're a young athlete, you might make a difference in your teacher's life just by how you act and you obey and you respond and do what you're supposed to do. As coaches, if you're a coach, maybe it's something that you're an example to your team and maybe to your own family, but also maybe God's just reminding you, you know what? I want to use you even in, not just out here, but even in with your peers at work, and to be that example to those you come across. Or maybe it's as an example about how you carry yourself on the field and how you're going to look to other coaches. And the idea is just that we would all be available. We'd be versatile. We would be examples and find ways to connect, because we can all relate on some level. And we just got to find that way to find common ground. And ultimately for us, we do it all for the sake of the gospel. Just like Paul said it for him, we can even use softball as a tool and as a way to be all things to all people. So if at all possible, we might save some. And that's the goal, is that the gospel is why we live. The gospel is why we play. And it's the love of Jesus in our lives that makes a difference to everyone we can come in contact with. So whatever they choose, whether they want to follow God or not, our goal is to go out and be the best example and to let them see what that looks like, to find love even on a softball field, even a classroom, even at your workplace, wherever we go. So I just hope that you can think about that. We want to be versatile. We can understand it in sports. We also need to do that as Christians. So I hope you take this and can think about that in those verses in 1 Corinthians 9:19 through 23. God bless you. Have a great day.